Hello everybody, it's Foxy speaking and welcome to another episode of Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. And today I will be your host. And in this episode is about a little boy who worked in an orchard. Well, really, it was his parents' orchard, but he just enjoyed. But even though it was only the little boy's parents' property-owned orchard, the little boy just loved being around the orchard. Loving it so much, his parents decided to let him work in the orchard, since he enjoyed being around it so much whenever he was not in school or anything. Some people, whenever there were visitors visiting the orchard, they used to name the little boy working in the orchard the Orchard Boy. Although, even though he was known as the Orchard Boy, the little boy who loved the orchard so much, he hardly had any other interests other than working in his parents' orchard. He was no ordinary little boy. He was quite a surprising little boy, this one. And this little boy's name was Henry. His name was Henry Percival. And the Percivals owned an orchard over far into the country, in the county, further up the country in the United Kingdom. The Percivals owned an orchard in the English county of Rutland. The English county of Rutland. Henry's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Percival, very much liked to name the orchard the Percival Orchard, and because Henry was regularly seen working in the orchard, his parents decided to charge visitors money to visit the orchard. Since it was no ordinary orchard, it was a special orchard. It was a very unusual special orchard. Many of the people who commented about Henry working in the orchard, they were like, all the people saying, this young boy's only about 7 or 8 and yet he's working in an orchard. Oh my goodness, that is just surprising, really. One day, it was spring morning, and it was the month of April of 1913. Young Henry woke up happily. He woke up absolutely excited, and he knew what he planned to do. Once he got up, he got himself cleaned up, got dressed, ate his breakfast of fruits. He ate some oranges and apples for his breakfast, as he liked fruits for his breakfast every morning, and then he rushed out the front door of his house, and ran speedily into the orchard, only to have a very bad shock. Although it may have been a sunny April morning, it was the month of the April showers, and as a result of the April showers, sometimes there are storms within the April showers months. And as a result, young Henry had a very bad shock. Trees were blown over. Well, certain trees managed to stand upright and stood fairly tall and upright and straight and sturdy, but many of its branches had fallen and scattered right across the grassy grounds, much to Henry's shock and disappointment. Oh, what could have happened to the orchard? Henry said sadly to himself. Oh, for the orchard to be right again. Oh, the Lord, please put the orchard right again. So he rushed back home and informed the news to his parents. His parents, equally shocked and devastated by the catastrophe done to the orchard as a result of the recent April showers and storm, they decided to close the orchard to visitors until further notice. Instead, Henry Percival himself played a board game with his older cousin, George. Even though they were playing the game together, George and Henry just couldn't think of other interests to keep him occupied in spite of playing a board game with his cousin George. I beat you, Henry, George said boastfully. Let's have another round. Henry was not terribly sure, but he agreed to George's offer, even though he really wanted to be working in the orchard again. Before long, work had begun getting the orchard cleaned up and back in its good visiting shape again. Obviously it was going to take time, but Henry himself could hardly wait to see the orchard back up again and back in a good shape for visitors to be visiting it once again in its former glory. Before long, the orchard was cleared up of the damage and was safe to visit again. Visitors were paying to go to the private orchard once again owned by the Percivals, and they saw Henry working there again. Oh, look, said a former regular who would visit the private orchard. It's the orchard boy once again. I'm so happy he's back enjoying the orchard and working in the orchard again. Very, very happy indeed. Henry beamed happily over the remarks. And thanks to making a deal with another company, the Percivals now have another person to help them whenever their orchard has faced destructive disaster, like the excessive April showers and the bad storm that damaged the orchard. The other company, the owner, who comes by the name of Mr. John Scour. Scour and Percival had a deal together, and John Scour promised to let the Percivals pay a discount whenever their private orchard is in danger or has faced destructive damage. And in that way it keeps the orchard safe and secure, and to keep the visitation numbers running and all the rest of it, and to keep the village popular and well run. Even Henry Percival himself could not have been a happier boy, now that whenever there is a problem like the one he'd seen with the previous time the orchard faced a near destructive problem, he knows the problem can now be rectified almost right away. The end. Well, thanks everybody indeed for watching this latest episode of Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. Please let me know what your thoughts were in the comments down below. Thanks ever so much indeed for watching, and I shall certainly see you in the very next video. Ta-ta, another time. From Foxy.